In a quiet corner of a small home, warm light spilled across the bathtub. The sound of gentle laughter mixed with the soft splash of water. A young father leaned over, eyes full of wonder and care. Before him, his tiny baby, gazing back with pure innocence. No one else was there, just love, raw, unfiltered, and real. He didn't know anyone was watching, or that a camera was rolling. This moment wasn't for show, or the world to see. It was just him, a man learning how to love his child deeply. He gently held the baby's head, whispering something only they could hear. The baby blinked, as if listening to a secret only love could tell. The man smiled, his eyes wet with emotion he didn't expect. He wasn't strong in words, but his hands spoke softly. Each movement said, "You're my everything." A father's touch, unsure yet full of meaning. No audience, no applause, just truth. A bond forming in the simplest, purest way. And as the water rippled between them, time seemed to pause. Little did he know, this moment would melt hearts across the world. Because when the footage surfaced, people saw something divine. A love so real, it didn't need words, only presence. The house was quiet except for the soft hum of running water. The father leaned closer, his reflection shimmering in the tub. Tiny bubbles rose between him and his baby, like fragile dreams. He smiled nervously, unsure if he was doing things right. His rough hands trembled as they touched the baby's tiny arms. A soldier once, a fighter by heart, yet now completely disarmed. The child's innocent gaze broke every wall he'd ever built. He whispered, "You're safe, my little one. Daddy's here." The baby blinked, eyes wide with pure curiosity. Water rippled between them, carrying warmth and comfort. He never thought love could feel this heavy, yet this soft. The baby's tiny hand reached out, touching his finger gently. And in that touch, the world outside disappeared. No war, no fear, no past, just this sacred heartbeat. His heart melted, eyes glistening under the soft bathroom light. He chuckled quietly, brushing water from the baby's cheeks. The child gurgled, a sound that made him laugh louder. He didn't know a camera was catching it all. No filters, no poses, just the truth of being a father. He wasn't teaching, he was learning. How to love without words. A warrior turned guardian, a fighter turned nurturer. And in that humble moment, he found something greater than pride. He found peace, inside a pair of tiny, trusting eyes. The baby cooed softly, as if to say, "I know, Daddy, I know." It was the kind of moment the world rarely sees, but never forgets. He looked at the baby and saw his own reflection in those tiny eyes. So small, so pure, yet holding the power to change his world. He remembered the days he once lived only for himself. But now, everything, every breath, belonged to this child. He gently dipped his hand into the warm water. The baby giggled, splashing drops onto his father's face. He laughed too, a sound filled with both love and disbelief. No one had ever made him feel this kind of peace. He whispered, "I'll protect you, no matter what." His voice cracked because he meant every word. The baby blinked, as if he could already understand. The room filled with a calm that words couldn't explain. The light danced across the walls, painting them in gold. He placed his hand on the baby's chest, feeling the heartbeat. "Strong," he said softly, "just like your dad." But deep down he knew, the baby was stronger, because this tiny soul had already changed him forever. He never planned for this life, yet it became his reason to live. He didn't know love until this little heartbeat arrived. He smiled and brushed a drop of water from the baby's nose. "Promise me," he whispered, "you'll always smile like that." The camera, hidden in the corner, caught it all, silently. Not a performance, not a pose, just a man finding grace. a father making a vow that time would never erase. And in that tender silence, love became eternal. The father didn't know that a small camera had been left on. It wasn't meant to capture anything, just forgotten from before. But that day, it recorded something far more powerful than words. It captured the truth of love, pure, unfiltered, and real. He wasn't performing. He was just being a dad. He splashed the water gently, making his baby laugh again. Each giggle echoed like music inside that tiny room. He looked down, eyes soft, heart heavy with love. No audience, no fame, only fatherhood in its truest form. The camera blinked quietly, unnoticed in the corner. Every frame told a story the world would one day cherish. The baby reached out, touching his father's face with tiny hands. He froze, feeling the warmth of that innocent touch. Tears welled up, though he tried not to let them fall. He never thought such small moments could mean so much. For years, he'd fought battles outside, but this was the real one. Learning patience, gentleness, and love beyond words. The baby smiled, as if understanding every emotion. He whispered, "You saved me, little one, more than you'll ever know." And in that whisper, something shifted inside his heart. The camera kept recording. A silent witness to love, a father who didn't need to be perfect, only present. Each second became a memory carved into time. And that footage, untouched, unedited, became a miracle. Because love, when real, doesn't need to be performed, just felt. Days later, the forgotten camera was finally found. The father never imagined what it had quietly seen. He pressed play, expecting nothing, just ordinary moments. But as the footage began, his heart stopped. He watched himself, vulnerable, gentle, and real. Each frame showed a love he never knew he could give. The laughter, the touch, the whispered promises, all there. He sat in silence, tears streaming down his face. It wasn't about how he looked. It was about what he felt. For once, he saw himself the way his baby did, with love. His wife walked in, drawn by the sound of laughter. She stopped beside him, hand over her mouth in awe. Together, they watched the beauty of simple parenthood unfold. No filters, no edits, just truth captured by accident. She placed her hand on his shoulder, whispering, "You're amazing." He smiled shyly, shaking his head. "I just did what any dad would." But she knew better. It was rare to see love that pure. They decided to save the clip, a treasure for their child. Later, it found its way online. Not by fame, but by heart. And soon, millions were watching, hearts melting everywhere. People wrote comments saying, "This is what love looks like." Strangers cried over a simple bath and a father's whisper. The video spread not for its perfection, but its honesty, because the world saw what he never planned to show. And in that raw truth, humanity found something divine again. The video didn't just touch hearts, it healed them. People saw a father's love that spoke louder than words. In every gentle gesture, they saw hope for humanity. Some said it reminded them of their own fathers. Others cried, wishing they had felt love like that once. The clip became more than a moment. It became a message. That real strength isn't in muscles, but in tenderness. That love doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. He never asked to go viral, but his heart did. His quiet care became a beacon across the internet. Men who once hid their emotions began to open up. They said, "If he can love like that, so can we." It started a wave of fathers sharing their unseen moments. Moments that never made it to screens. Until now. Because one man showed the world what love looks like. The father himself watched the reactions in disbelief. He never thought simple kindness could echo this far. He smiled, whispering, "Maybe the world needed this." The baby, now asleep in his arms, stirred softly. He kissed the tiny forehead, eyes full of peace. This time he knew the camera might be watching. But he didn't care. Love wasn't for the camera. It was for the soul, for the bond that never fades. He held his child close, whispering, "You're my forever." And somewhere out there, millions silently whispered it too. The video traveled faster than anyone expected. From small villages to crowded cities, it touched every heart. People stopped scrolling. They felt something real. It wasn't just about a father and child, but about humanity. The clip became a mirror showing what love truly looks like. News anchors played it on air, their voices breaking mid-sentence. Psychologists spoke about the healing power of such affection. But to most, it was just beautiful, pure, and simple. A moment of peace in a noisy, divided world. He never meant to be famous, only to be kind. Letters began to arrive from people he'd never met. A mother wrote, "You reminded me my husband loved like that." A son wrote, "Now I want to be that kind of dad too." The father read each message with quiet disbelief. He realized, love, when real, becomes unstoppable. The world didn't need more heroes. It needed more hearts. And that's exactly what he showed them, without saying a word. The baby's giggle had become a global lullaby of hope. It echoed across screens, homes, and tired souls. Because sometimes, a single act of love heals millions. He sat by the window that night, holding his sleeping child. The moonlight touched their faces like a silent blessing. And for the first time, he felt truly complete. Not because of fame, but because of meaning. A simple man had unknowingly changed the world with love. Years passed, but that video never faded. It became a family treasure, replayed on every birthday. The father aged, but his eyes still softened at that memory. He'd watch himself, younger, unsure, yet full of love. The baby, now a child, would giggle at the screen. "Daddy, that's me," she'd say, eyes wide with joy. He'd smile, pulling her close, whispering, "That's us." Every frame told their story, timeless and true. He never cared for the fame that came after. For him, the only reward was her laughter. He often thought about that day in the bathroom. How unplanned moments became miracles. He learned that love doesn't wait for the right time. It creates it. That kindness, even unseen, always finds its way out. One small act had touched more hearts than he'd ever meet. He kept the camera on a shelf, still dusty, still silent. But he knew it had captured something divine. Sometimes he'd press play just to feel it again. The baby's laughter, the warmth, the innocence, forever alive. He'd whisper, "This is where it all began." Because love, once real, never grows old. It just finds new ways to remind us of who we are. And in that old video, he always saw the best version of himself. A father who didn't need to try. Just love. And that was enough to change everything. The story of the father and his baby became legend online. People still share it when they need a reminder of love. Teachers use it to show empathy. Families to inspire care. It became more than a viral clip. It became a symbol. The message was simple, yet eternal. Love doesn't need witnesses. It only needs honesty and a heart willing to give. The father often thought of all those who watched him. He wondered if they ever found the same peace he did. He didn't seek attention. He shared his soul by accident. And the world responded. With love, with tears, with hope. He taught everyone that strength isn't about power. It's about the courage to be gentle. The courage to hold someone without fear or pride. Even after the fame faded, the story remained. It lived in hearts, in homes, in whispered bedtime talks. A father's love, eternal, unspoken, unforgettable. The baby grew, but that bond only deepened. Every time she looked at him, she saw that same love. the one that didn't care for cameras, only connection. And even years later, when she became a parent too, she replayed that video, tears in her eyes, whispering, "Now I understand." Because love like that never fades. It passes on. And the world, for one brief moment, became kinder because of it. All because one father didn't know there was a camera and loved anyway. Sometimes, the most beautiful moments happen when no one is watching. Because true love isn't performed. It's felt deeply and silently. That father didn't seek attention. He simply chose to love. And in that simplicity, he showed the world something eternal. We live in a world that celebrates noise, but love whispers. It doesn't need lights, filters, or applause to be real. It just needs two hearts willing to connect without fear. His act wasn't grand. It was genuine, and that made it divine. He proved that being present is more powerful than being perfect. That kindness, when pure, never fades. It multiplies. The world saw a man become a father, not by title, but by soul. He reminded us that love doesn't start with big gestures.